Welcome to Apex Esports League. I'm JT, and tonight we're on Project Cars 2 for the PS4 for round 1 of the Apex Esports League Group A Touring Car Cup. And for round 1, we are heading to Silverstone International, and it's going to be a lot of fun seeing Group A's get around Silverstone. So tonight's session, we have 2 races. We're heading over into a 15-minute practice. Weather is light cloud. Qualifying is 15 minutes. Weather is light cloud. Then the sprint race is 15 laps. Weather is clear with no mandatory pit. Then we'll have about a 9-minute break and then head into session 2 where we'll have 15 minutes of qualifying. Weather is clear. Then the main race is 30 laps. Weather is clear through to light cloud. So we'll check out the track. So of course in the United Kingdom for the Silverstone International, game session time will be starting at 9 AM. The track length is 3.61 kilometres and there are 10 turns around this track, so it's going to be a lot of good fast-paced action and probably a fair few passes being attempted in Sector 3 and Sector 1, but otherwise it's going to be a pretty quick track to see these cars get around, and they can be quite a handful. They have a lot of torque, so it's going to be a lot of fun. But over into pit lane now. As the drivers currently out onto track, so we've got 14 drivers currently on the grid. I'm expecting a couple late comers potentially to join in. He's had things come up at the last minute. Philly gets straight out onto the track. So we aren't running the full class that the game has. The game does actually have 5 cars for this class. There's the Nissan and the Audi that's also in there. However, they do have the larger engine, so we have restricted it to only be the BMW, Mercedes and the Ford Sierra. So it should be fairly well evenly matched out there. And we are running for the first time ever a team championship. So the drivers have been able to find themselves a teammate, and then be competing for the Drivers' Championship as well as the Team Championship, so an extra prize being up for grabs for the winning team. So unfortunately a few of the teams have had their counterparts not be able to make it, so there's a fair few singles out there at the moment. So hopefully we'll see a few more double ups. We do have D-Train and Steph running as a team. I believe their team name is Piston Broke, so a very clever wordplay with that team name, so kudos for that name. Then we have, I think it is Simo and Gallon running as a team. So they're calling themselves COVID Racing, and of course they're in the Project Cars 2 marked cars out on track. We also have another team. So we have Spray and Pray and Ford Sierra. And his teammate is Corby. I'll find him in a moment. And their team is Hit Your Marks. And the Eduardo car. You see that car a little bit slippery coming around that corner. These things are a lot of fun to drive. So a few singles. We haven't got Rooney out on track. So Philly missing his teammate as well. Even Effects unable to commit to a team. He may have some things come up that mightn't be able to see him participate in each of the races or rounds. So he's deciding just to do it out on his own. Memory trying to recall what his team name is, so he's called himself Single Cylinder Racing, so doing well since he's doing it out there on his lonesome. I'm not sure if Nick's got a teammate out there. Oh, he's just got that car off track just slightly. Takes out the witch's hat on the way past. Coco Dog also in the BMW. His teammate was to be Doggy Daddy, so he hasn't been able to get in. And we do have a debut racer with us tonight, so we welcome Black AI Warrior. I'm not sure, I have to check with him what his pronunciation for that name is. We'll just call him Black, might be easier from what I can see on my screen for names. Yeah, Weir has joined us for the stream at least, so our team Vazmac. As you would know from previous streams, they were calling themselves Team Vazmac from the car's actual liveries that was on it. And we have Function, who has made a return after quite some time from racing. We get to see him back out on the track with the rest of the guys. We have DK Rush, who also has his teammate missing. So Sami, who just won the V8 Supercar Championship that concluded last week. We're getting first laps on the board, 110.6, and a brake marker just taken out by Corby. They're coming through for very quick time, getting nice and broad, a little bit of a synchronised drift between the two of them here. I think they're having a lot of fun playing with the car at the moment. So it'll be interesting just to see what sort of goes on with the teammates. Whether there's some team strategies. It's good they're already talking about different setups and sharing setups with each other. So it's good to see those. Ooh, that's a bit of an issue going through. Ooh, Demon Effects has come through with the quickest lap. Another 110. It's 110.3. Mick Cliff also in with the 110s. So the Ford Sierra is seemingly dominating the track at the moment. And followed closely by the Mercedes. I just had another car go for a slide in the back there. Seeing all these cars really slide that tail out around that bend. These things are full of torque and will go for a fantastic slide. Thanks, cool. Yeah, he's actually on the stream as well, so Black High Warrior. Easy, now we know. Oh, that's a big broad slide. I'm not sure who that was. I think that may have been Gallant. He's just come back onto track, so he's going for a very broad slide. We'll jump on board for a lap with someone in a moment. So Rooney's out there. It looks like he's in the Ford as well. There's a car off the track. Someone's just gone for a slide around the back as well. I think that was Demon Effects. He'd gone off track. Oh, T-Rex, yeah, could have got in on this. There was a couple of spots there too. I can't get into a lobby to send an invite now. But if you've got any of the other guys there on your list, if you send them a message to invite you, they might be able to do it for you. And if you are joining us for the stream, be sure to have some fun with those sound effects controls underneath. You can play a variety of fun sound effects, cheers, applause, boos, all sorts of different things. Just have some fun. And if you are new, don't forget to hit that follow button and help grow Apex eSports League and show the support for our drivers. We'll find out who's coming up. So we want to jump on board with Mr. D-Train. He's coming up to starting a new lap. So the national variation for the track is the much quicker track. You can see briefly on the track map where it goes off into the other sections. This is where we're seeing the cars really get broad around turn 1. A little bit slippery on the curve for turn 2. Down into the sharper corner, almost hairpin, a little bit off. And a little bit confusing for this section of the track where you can see the other variation go off, and the same here. And the driving line for the game gets turned off in our events, so drivers cannot use the driving line aid at all. And coming down along the back straight to the last corner for Sector 2. Very broad slide along that back end. Straight over the curb. Nice and wide for a very sharp left-hand corner. Oop, a little bit too early in, and that's quite a hard curb to hit if it does get cut. We tend to see a fair few incidents happen here. It's the same for this last corner. Very slippery. You can just see how much torque is in these cars. And he's running this car on only 0.5 litres of fuel, so that was very light. That was a fantastic lap for D-Train. He is having a lot of fun with that car around there. It's going to be probably quite tiring after the main race with 30 laps, as they are a handful. Ooh, Rooney has come through for 109.9. He's just brought that into the pits, so that's Corby or Spray and Pray that's getting broad. And they're pretty well paced between the teammates here. Corby coming in with a 110.6 and Spray with a 111.1. Nick Cliff still up in the top section with a 110, almost breaking into the 19 mark as well. Looks like Mick's going to be one to watch out for tonight. These times are spectacular. And a fair bit of traffic going on along the back straight. And it's pretty close for times. We've now had 12 minutes of practice. And there's 7.1 seconds separating 14 cars. That is very close. Ford Sierra has an amazing scream as it goes around. I think that is Corby. No, that's not Corby, that's Spray. That's absolutely fanging this thing. You can see that full opposite lock going in as the car just spools out around. Oh, very broad. Is he going to take some damage into the wall? Just touches that tyre wall. Well, Mick's come through for the quickest time, a 109.7, beating Rooney's time by 0.2. That is very quick. So a bit of damage showing for Simo Simsel. Teammates will need to play caution for when they do head into the pits, as they will be sharing the pit bay. That's what I was looking for. DK has just gone off track. Yeah, so drivers could have to potentially wait for their teammates, so they'll have to be in communication. I'm not sure if they're going to be doing some... Oh, here we go. We've got T-Rex joining in. Managed to send through a message on it. Okay. Good to see now. 15 cars out on the track. Really having some fun with this car. You can just see how much they love to turn. Almost turn on a dime. They just flick out so much. Not too many cars on Project Cars 2 that you can really play around and drift with. These things are definitely one of them. Yeah, Mick's doing it for the controller guys for sure. He's dominating all these others that don't do it on the controller. We've got two 109s, two 110s, four 111s. They're doing well. to the other black car that's out there. Gallen coming in with a 1:12 flat, so it's 2.2 off pace as he improved that lap time. Bobby and Demon have just gone off track, so their lap times have been validated. I'll have a look and just see what car T-Rex is driving. Don't forget, throw us some predictions in the chat as well. T-Rex having some fun getting that car out wide on that corner. We've had some pretty good predictions. Jeffries from the last couple of rounds has been able to throw in some pretty good predictions. This very tight going through those corners. I think he was just going past Simo. Just playing with that throttle to get the car through the corner. These tyres are going to be taking a thrashing. Look at that drift. Lovely. Oh, goes off track though. We're going to be seeing plenty of exciting action with these cars over the course of the next 5 weeks. And then we have the practice session complete. And there's 80 seconds just to wrap up these last laps, and then they'll be heading over into qualifying. Black Eye Warrior having a bit of damage to that front end. He's probably brought the car back in, however. If you do join us for the streams and you are on PlayStation 4 or 5 and you've got Project Cars 2 and you want to get involved in our races, you can find out all about our events by checking out our Facebook page on the address down at the bottom of the screen. There is links also in our Twitch. Driving into the pits. The drivers will need to familiarise themselves with the pits, and we have had a little bit of a change with the game settings, so we've added in pit stop errors for the game, so the game will throw some random possible errors that could happen whilst in the pits, so they can drop wheel nuts and some other issues, so we'll see a little bit of variance going on with the pits potentially. We've seen some pretty quick stop and goes where that may actually change and not see those quick releases that we usually see. They could be held up a little bit longer, so a bit of variation to potentially mix things up and change the outcome of a race. So try and get that a little bit more realistic. So after the practice session, we have Mick Cliff come through 109.7, so very quick. So Rooney not too far off that pace by 0.2. So our first 4 drivers are less than a second apart, so that is very close. Now we've got 15 cars on the grid. Now that T-Rex has managed to join in, and Jeffries has thrown in his prediction, so it's Demon for race 1. Yeah, that's right, Dirty. There will be a 2-week break after this series before we head into the RS01 trophy. And then we'll be having just a 1-week break from our iRacing series on the Mondays. We're trying to line them up so that we have these series both start on the same week. So we'll be having the Formula Vs and the RS01s both starting at the same time. The cars scrambling everywhere at the moment, a little bit of chaos going down towards the back end. There's Witch's Hat's taking a thrashing on that corner. That is the corner that we were mentioning before. It is quite confusing where the variation for the standard track goes. Demon just tucking in behind Steph at the moment. Awesome, Dirty. It'll be good to see you back for that. The RSO1s should be a lot of fun as well. Philly with Team Vazmak. He's getting a lot of good pace up in behind that Sierra. Not sure whose car that one is. I think it was D-Train or Steph. It might have been Steph's car. Both having some issues with the BMW. D-Train just going around his teammate then. Takes a bit to try and remember just who's in what cars. It usually takes me a full series before I get used to the liveries, once they don't change around. We have been usually, with our iRacing ones, new liveries for the cars just about each round. And the drivers for this series will be competing for an Apex eSports League champion stubby. They could score themselves that stubby cooler by either winning the team championship or the drivers championship. Look at this, 3 110s on the opening laps. Straight up quick. The weather conditions are still the same as the practice session, is still light cloud. However, game progression has changed to 10 AM. Track temps will increase a little bit. The season is spring. They've brought those cars in straight away. Corby in with a 110 as well. Okay, a few conservative first opening laps, and still phenomenal with Mick, Rooney and Corby really pushing these cars, and they are on pretty all in the Sierras. Not sure if they're going to be dominating over the Mercedes and BMWs. Gallen's come through with a 112 pretty straight off. I think his quickest time in the practice was a 112 flat. It's still pretty similar pace on his opening lap. Well, and he's improved. He's come through from 111.4. So definitely increasing that pace from the practice session. Well, a little bit of traffic coming up. That's either Steph or D-Train. Gets around and Demon tucks in behind. I think that is Steph's car. Spray and Pray also doing well with a 111.9. And there are points up for grabs for qualifying position. So there's 25 points up for grabs for pole position. And then I'll call for what our point system is. It's 60 points for a win in the sprint race, and then the main race tonight, victory will score 120 points. Both teammates can both get a pretty good qualifying position and race or finish pretty similar to each other on each of the races that will at least get them up in the team championship and get them off to a pretty good start. It's a little bit of a disadvantage for several who are missing out on their co-drivers with them tonight. The only driver to get time on the board yet is Philly. Not sure if he's just coming out of the pits later. This might be his first timed lap.
Ha! Got him!
That must have just been his out lap then, or the lap was invalidated. Ooh, ran off wide. A little bit of lag going on between the two there. I think that was Spray and Pray. They both went off, and it looked like they'd sort of made contact prior to actually making contact. Mick still showing some immense pace and all from the controller. At 109.7, he's matching his pace from the practice session. That's going to be a pretty hard time to beat, to steal away pole position. And it's fantastic to see Mick taking a pole time here. And Varuni's come through with a 109 as well. Oh, Mick just improved that time, a 109.4. He's brought that car into the pits. Not sure what sort of fuel load he's running. And Rooney coming in a little bit too hot, having to try and get on the anchors and bring that car up in time. Oh, and we have a Mercedes up into the top 3 times. Oh no, it's just been bumped down. Corby's just snuck up with them. So another Sierra is now up in the top 3. Ford currently dominating the leaderboard at this stage. Oh, it's a very big broad slide. We've seen that same scenario happen many times. DK doing well in the Mercedes with a 110.779. He's only just marginally off Spray and Prey's time of a 110.707. Yes, that's right. As a normal, all the best of luck to our newcomer tonight. I think he's been practicing with a few of the guys this week in some lobbies, so learning a few of the things and getting set. I think it's his first league race. He did jump on the stream on Monday night watching the finale for the Logitech G Supercars Championship. And then saw we do Project Cars too, and then wanted to get involved, and then here he is. So if you are joining us and you see that, be sure to get involved. We're happy to have drivers of all skill levels come across. Rooney and Corby still up in that top end. Not sure what Philly's driving. I think he's in the Mercedes. Yes, he's in the Mercedes. Coca Dog in the BMW. The BMW is seeming to be towards the back end of the grid so far. The Black High Warrior in the Mercedes. Oh, Simo's just brought his car in. T-Rex also in the Mercedes. BMW as well, so it seems to be the Fords showing some very quick pace around Silverstone. We could see some potential differences as we go into the rest of the races. We've made a pretty good mix of tracks that will potentially vary it up for all the different cars. Mixed time being very hard to beat. There's just under 4.5 minutes remaining of qualifying. Does Rooney improve his time here? Doesn't improve it. That lap was a 1:16, so he must have just come out of the pits where he's ran off track. Sure, who's in that car there?
Got him!
Sure who else is in that white one. Funk Chin has gone into the pits. That's Death there in car number 2. Gallen getting up alongside, almost probably going to be a rub. That was pretty close. Very wide line. We only have 2 drivers in the 109s. It's currently 8 seconds separating the field. Take him with a 1:17.899. He's about 7 seconds off the 109s in the practice session. Eric's in with 1:16, so he's 6.7 seconds off. Let's see if he does improve this time.
Wow.
He improves that, and that goes down to a 1:14, so he's moved up a couple of positions. There is Rooney just coming out of the pits. Train setting a 1:12.781. A little bit slippery for him, finding that line. These cars make a good roar. Might jump on for some different cars so you can just see what they sound like inside. I think D-Train was in the BMW, so we went for a lap around in the BMW. We'll find a Mercedes, actually jumping on board with Mick. And that Ford Sierra. Oh, Mick just set another fastest lap. He's improved it again, a 1:09.481. And he's got a quite heavy fuel load. I don't know if he's now testing potentially his race setup, but very good control of this car, and this is all done from a controller, not from a steering wheel. Hear the scream of that Sierra. Just using engine braking to bring the car down the speed, and then just feathered that throttle through. Almost full brake. Half throttle. Hear that tyre screech as it goes around. And this could be another quickest lap as well. No, he's 2 seconds off his pace. That was a very tidy lap still. I think we need to find ourselves a Mercedes. We'll jump on board with Gallen. He's chasing down his teammate, I'm pretty sure. Simo just goes off wide, so there's 80 seconds left. See that nice target at the front of the bonnet. See that now on new cars. These old things are an amazing touring car. Engine braking, trail brake down into that corner. So each of these cars handle very differently between them. So you're going to have to know the car, how it handles, and then adapt your driving style for it. It's a nice lap around for Gallen. He's going to have some fun across the line. Cliff still holds pole position. Can Rooney steal it away? We've got 3 drivers in the 109s. The Demon Effects come through for 109 as well. I've left that on the results screen that entire time as well, so you wouldn't have seen just what was going on at the top there. But there you have Mick Cliff taking pole position with a 109.481, and then position 2 and position 3 and 4 all in the 109, so that is very quick. So it's going to be a very exciting race to see. So then we have, following Mick is Demon, Rooney, Corby, Spray, DK, Gallen, Philly, Coco, D-Train, Blakai, Warrior, Simo, T-Rex, Function and Steph. So we'll be heading over onto pit straight, ready to grid up for the start of the opening race for the Group A Touring Car Cup. Drivers got a couple of minutes just to get those setups changed. But it's not forced default setups for these cars. It is custom setups allowed. The drivers can vary their tyre compounds and the full setups to the car. They can play with the boost that's in the cars as well. They can try and control that torque a little bit depending on the track. So I think with Silverstone from the grid, the cameraman likes to zoom off into nowhere. It's quite... I'm going to see if we can try and get it to at least stay focused on... We'll be able to see too much of the start. I won't zoom out enough that we'll be able to see all the cars away from the start. Once all the drivers have hit that ready button, they will be good for the lights to start getting ready. If drivers don't hit that ready button in time, they will be dropped from the race. There you go, they're revving up, ready to start the race. And lights are green, and away we go. There's a fair bit of diverting up towards the midfield, and our cameraman does not know to point it at anyone. Oh, there's some chaos going on towards the back. I think that's Kai Warrior, and Simo has taken some hits, and D-Train has also been involved in that incident. There's some debris elsewhere. Not sure if that's spray and pray that's also off to the side. He was also in that. These cars probably spooled up pretty heavily at the grid. Then it's allowed Demon Effects now to get out into a very strong lead already. Corby is honing down on Demon Effects. Rooney sitting in tight in behind him. Mick Cliff has dropped down into 4th position, not getting away pretty good. Mick usually gets away to a fantastic start, so a little bit of a delayed start for him. Demon Effects has also just copped a post-race time penalty, so he's obviously cut track somewhere and didn't abide by the slowdown. Over the course of 15 laps, he should be right if he can put out a lead. Oh, Corby is going up for an inside line over Demon. On the last corner, goes out quite wide. Demon holds that line, and Corby swings out. That Sierra gets a huge amount of speed on the runoff from the final corner, but Demon isn't giving it up just yet. Nearly side by side around turn 2. Down into the sharp corner now, doesn't position enough, but Corby slides a little bit of a lock-up. He's just lost a little bit of ground to Demon. So they only got 14 cars on the track now. Something's gone. Not sure if someone has retired out. I think we've lost Black Eye Warrior. He may have had to have retired. Oh, look at Mick going for a pass. Almost gets up along. He gets up on that curb. It wasn't enough to get around Demon. Demon is slipping away. These Sierras are starting to pull away on him. We have Gallen bring up in 5th position. There's a little bit to try and catch these guys. Rooney and Corby are sitting very tight. It's 0.1 of a second difference between the two as they go down pit straight. Corby carried a lot more speed going into turn 1, but Rooney goes off track. Positions himself nicely. He's got the track position. A little bit of a rub on the exit, and he then makes contact with Demon. That was potentially going to be a bad incident. These guys are really racing here. They are fighting for every bit of track. That was some good, clean, competitive racing. Some very tidy rubs. Mick Cliff now moves back up into third position. Demon has dropped down into fourth. Starting to lose that pace that he had on that first lap. Yeah, Zanoma probably is right. The controller is probably a bit limiting with battling the rest of them. You can see him having to correct it a little bit, but he's still doing well to hold that car. Oh, there's a bit of a car's debris being shot out across that corner. And we have Gallen just coming back around that last corner as these guys head into turn one. Demon gets very broad. Very different lines between here. Mick goes for a very tight line. Rooney goes out quite wide. That's allowed Demon and Mick to get past. So Mick's now moved up into position 3. Rooney did lock that car up as he was in the corner. That could have gone a lot worse for him. Corby hasn't been able to get away real quickly. Mick is closing in very fast. Corby's running 33 litres of fuel. Mick's running a very heavy load, and yet he has an amazing amount of speed in comparison. So to be double the fuel and be catching up to him on the straight, so he's got this car really set well, and I would assume the heavier load of fuel would most likely assist with the car's handling, especially on a controller. So he's probably adapted the car to suit the controller. These guys are still sitting very tight. They scream round turn 1. We have a little bit of a battle going on towards the back end. We have Philly and T-Rex fighting it out. Function's not too far behind either. Philly carries on a nice line around the final corner. It's not enough to slingshot out around. Ooh, gets him on turn 1, but it's a bit too sharp, so it's just cost him. So that could have gone a lot worse. He did just lose out a lot of ground, but avoided incidents, so very lucky in the long run. Mick Cliff had dropped back to a few spots, so he's made error, but he's recovering ground pretty quickly. I'm not sure who that was. He was just passing. I think it's D-Train's got some significant damage to that car currently, so I don't think he's been into the pit, so he's just battling it out. Philly and Function are starting to close in. Spray is starting to close in on Coco Dog. DK also running on and starting to catch up to Mick after that mistake. So I'm not sure if Mick's taken some damage. He seems to be putting a little bit more slower pace. Black Eye Warrior in the chat, so he said he had to retire out from all the damage he took at the start there. He'll be there for the main race. Hopefully some better luck. Rennie trying to close that gap in on Corby. Demon's got a little bit of a safety net. He's got 5 seconds before he has Gallen catch up to him. Carried some pretty good speed through the final corner. Let's see Corby get that car out slightly for a slide. Very wide line, that's going to cost some time for Rooney, but no, he seems to get more speed on approach to the next corner. Flat foot around that. A little bit of a fight. So we're halfway through now, or on the conclusion of lap 7 in a moment. You can see Corby really pull away towards that second sector. Seems to be having a lot more pace than Rooney in sector 2. Currently Philly still closing in that gap on T-Rex. T-Rex could be in trouble here. He seems to be closing in pretty good. He carried a lot more speed on it. Flash the lights just to let him know he's going around. Positions himself nicely for that corner. Doesn't get up far enough ahead. T-Rex carried a lot more speed. He's lost that ground that he had, started to catch up to T-Rex. Or T-Rex locks that up coming into the corner. Philly followed suit. Demon now closing in on Corby. Mercedes getting up there to give the Ford a good battle. Yeah, it's pretty bad luck, cool boy. Unfortunately, it does happen a fair bit. We've seen some pretty spectacular crashes on debut races. Seen one that was well and truly smashed and flipped all up pit straight. Demon effects really sitting tight. That Sierra really pulls away and there's a braking marker on pit straight. A little bit of control trying to get that car back straight. Set Sierra slide out. The Mercedes seems to hold ground a little bit better. Demon really is keeping the same gap between Corby. So Corby leading at the moment by 2.3 seconds. So he was chasing down Corby for a good while. Mistake by Corby costing him that position. Hear that car spool up as it goes around. Demon still not giving up on Corby. I don't think Corby's taken any damage, so his mistake didn't make any contact by the looks of things. Goes out a little bit too wide. That's cost him some time. They'll make her way down through the rest while these guys are closing those gaps in. Steph currently in 14th position. She's on lap 9, so she's not behind. Teammate D-Train getting caught up in the bingle in lap 1. Still battling that car out, so well done D-Train, just getting that car around. He'll definitely be able to get it home. Funk Chin. I don't think he's taken any damage. He seems to be doing okay. Billy currently in 11th position. T-Rex in 10th. Starting to catch up on Simo Simzul. It's a little bit till he catches up to him. He's about 1.5 seconds away. Oh, he'll catch up quickly now. Simo having to really back off the throttle there. He's starting to feel that car slide. T-Rex will be very close to one. He goes off wide on that corner. That's allowed T-Rex, but T-Rex sort of backed off. I don't know if he was potentially considering he could be gliding back on track out in front of him. We have Hit Your Marks of Spray and Pray in 8th position. Demon has just ran off wide. So he's just lost a position. That's allowed DK to move up into 4th position. And Demon's wearing that time second penalty as well. So he's currently will have 2 seconds applied at the conclusion of the race. Mick Cliff is currently 2 seconds behind Demon. If he can close that gap in just at race end, he could easily steal that position away. So we have Coco Dog sitting in 7th position. Nick in 6th. Demon unfortunately dropping back down into 5th. DK doing well up in 4th position. And we have Gallon, who's just silently been plugging his way around and has moved up into 3rd position. Colby is currently 2.8 seconds behind our race leader. Rennie looking pretty good at this stage. He's only got 3 more laps to go, and he's pushed that lead out more. Now 3.2 second lead over Corby. However, he has some traffic coming up. You can see Corby just trying to get that car back under control. Oh, Gallon's just gone for a very wide slide around that bend. It is a tricky one for all of them. It's seen it happen a fair bit. That's the first corner in Sector 2. Phillies just ran off wide. He was starting to close in on T-Rex again. That mistake costing him time. Oh no, he's going to be getting around. T-Rex has just gone off for a spin in front of him. That's allowed Philly now to move up into position 9. He's got 20 seconds to the car ahead, so he's probably going to be pretty safe for spray. I don't think he's going to be able to cover that much ground over the course of 3 more laps. The D-Train now having some traffic going around. I think that's Function that's just moved over, yes, in the yellow and blue car. He's going to probably slow right back off and allow our race leader to get through. So Rennie gets around. Well done, Function. Colby's now trailing by 7 seconds. DK now closing in on Gallant. He's only 1.2 seconds off from Gallant. He could easily close that in. It's Mercedes versus Mercedes. It's lap 14 now. He's leading by 6.5 seconds. I think that's D-Train that he's now just caught up to. Yes, that is D-Train. He's got a severely damaged car. You can see that car just does not have that pace anymore. It'll be an interesting replay to see what happened at the start. It all happened on pit straight. Ray doing pretty well. His car's looking pretty good. Beeman still trying to catch up to DK. Gallen seems to be pulling away from DK now. Still holding that lead out by 6.5 seconds. Corby is doing his best to try and close the gap in. Seems to be losing most of the pace in Sector 1. And follows through on the first corner for Sector 2. So Function's now got some more traffic looking to get around. I think that's Gallen that will be looking to get past. I think he did just... He also has his teammate just up ahead to get around as well. DK still trying to close in. We've just had Rooney cross the line, taking victory for the opening race. Having a 6-second lead. Well done, Corby, on position 2. Oh, Simo having a few issues with that car down pit straight. Gallen takes podium as well in position 3. DK manages to take that position away into position 4 because of Demon's 2-second post-race time penalty. Demon in 5th position. And Cliff, after a brilliant start, ends up with position 6. Spray and Pray in position 7, and I think he did get caught up in the incident at race start. To have Coco Dog in position 8. T-Rex going for a scenic view at the moment. And we have Philly in 10th position. We've got 12 seconds to get the last laps done. Cars returning into grid now, and then we have the conclusion of race 1 for round 1. We have Rooney 9915 taking victory, and I think he's probably pretty close to being the fastest lap out there as well. Just marginally gets in, so a 1:10.458. The next quickest was Mick Clifford for 1:10.495, so showing how it's done on the controller, that is super quick. So similar to his qualifying time, and he's carrying that huge amount of fuel loads as well. So also on the podium we have Kobe in 2nd place, Gallen in 3rd, followed by DK, Demon, Mick, Spray and Pray, Coco, T-Rex, Philly, D-Train, Function, Simo, Steph, and Black Eyed Warrior, who had to retire out on the first lap. It's unfortunate there. So that concludes race 1, but we'll be having about a 9-minute break and then heading into session 2. So we'll have 15 minutes qualifying and then the main race, which is 30 laps around Silverstone. And then, of course, with the mandatory pit requirements, we have thrown in the pit errors. So we could see some pretty interesting stuff happening all in pit lane. So be sure to stay tuned, and we'll be back very shortly. And welcome back for session 2. We're heading over into 15 minutes of qualifying around Silverstone International. We just see Rooney take victory in the opening race. And I don't think he's attached to a team either, so getting off in the singles privateers, getting off to a good start. And then so for the session, game time is starting at 1 PM. Track conditions have changed to clear. There's going to be a lot more temp out there, so we might start to find that there's a bit more grip for these cars. Drivers were mentioning it was not so much as competitive racing, but more just trying to ensure the car stays straight and not lose it on all the corners. So they were having a lot of fun, and they're not looking too forward to trying to battle it out for 30 laps. They said it was quite a handful to get around for the 15, but they're having a lot of fun in these cars. And at the conclusion of this race, we will be chatting with the podium finishers. We'll invite P1 to 3 into the chat at the results, so be sure to hang around and hear what they have to say about the cars and how the round has gone for them. And if you got any questions, you can throw that into the chat and we can see if they can answer any questions you may have. T-Rex was mentioning in the lobby in the break, this is the second time he's ever driven these cars. He's doing pretty well considering only have jumped in it 2 times. Oh, I'm not sure who that is. It's just gone off. If it's not D-Train. Not sure if that may have been Steph. Sure, I can't recall who's in the other white car. Sabalakai Warrior, unlucky having to retire out in the first race. He's had D-Train go off track. That's who it might have actually been. He had his lap time invalidated. You have to go around for another time. Drivers now just starting to get onto their first time lap. Might have been Coco Dog's car. He's also in. It was just a delayed change onto the cars. First time lap of 1:15. Black Eye Warrior coming through. Just gone off track as well. More times coming through. Corby straight in with 110. Very quick pace. He's running that car super light. When that car slide out. Well, there's a little bit of lag going on, and that's just caused incident. I'm not sure who that is. I think that was with Simo. So that was a big lag, skipped by Corby as he came up. Corby would have been seeing things very differently, but then he was actually, you can see him skipping off to the side a little bit still. Yeah, he's definitely got some lag showing. Billy's come through with a 1:11. There's hopefully much better lap for Warrior this time. Didn't get off to a very good start in his debut race, not getting to complete the first lap. Hopefully he can run out for the 30 laps. A little bit slippery still for DK. A lot of rubber being laid down on that corner. If you are just joining us for the stream, don't forget to hit that follow button if you haven't done so. You can be notified when we go live. So we broadcast Project Cars 2 Thursday night, 7:30 PM Australian Eastern Standard Time. And then iRacing on Monday nights. We do have the Spec Racer Ford series starting on Monday. There'll be some good action to see there. We should just conclude the Logitech G series. If driver Blake Urquhart taking victory in the series and winning himself a fantastic prize from Logitech G Australia New Zealand. Look at Mick Cliff straight in with 110s again. 110.2. Got some amazing pace in this car. Colby's just brought the car back into the pits. Demon also in for the 110s. I'm sure we'll see Mick in with a 109 again. So he definitely does run that car much heavier. We saw Corby out there with only about 7 litres of fuel and sets a 110.6. And then Mick's running in the 20 litres of fuel and getting a 110.2. Gallen doing well for 111. A little bit wide on that corner and then follows on the Fulton corner as well. Runs off just out into the dirt, so that's fine. Doesn't take damage and keep that car running. Here comes Rooney up in with the 110s as well. That's 4 110s so far. It's 0.2 off of Mick's pace. Locks that back right, coming down into that corner. Rooney makes crucial error there. He was just following suit of another car. I think that was, I'm not sure who that was actually. It might have been Function just up ahead of him. I'll find him on my list here. Yes, that was Function's car. Not sure if that's maybe Simo at the back there, looking to try and get some temp into those tyres. Some fun sliding that car around on the back straight. 4 drivers in the 110s. Oh, that really snapped back at him. He got the death wobble as he started to slide that out. It just snapped straight back and turned him around. You'll have a bit of debris on those tyres now. You have to be wary of, and I think that's D-Train is making the pass around him. A bit slippery for him. Well, it sounded like they were stuck on the rev limiter there, whether that was stuck in the gear. Something going on for him, potentially running out of fuel. Coco Dog currently in with a 111. There's 7.2 seconds separating the field currently. That's for 15 cars. That is very tight times. Coco Dog fighting it around that corner. Chin very close to Simo's time. He's about 0.2 off that pace. Nick's been in the pits for a little while, so he must be pretty happy. He's come through with a 109.6. I think he qualified a 109.4 in session 1. That's a very good lap. He did get away to a very slow start at the lights. if he can nail it, which is strange because usually Mick is pretty quick at getting away at the start. Simo improve that time? No, it doesn't improve that time. We've got the Fords dominating up the front again. With Demon and Gallen bring it in for the Mercedes in the 4th and 5th quickest time. Spray catching up. Ooh, goes for a slide. I think it was going around Steph. And then goes out wide. Steph slows down to avoid Spray. And Nick, some issues, not sure what's going on for him there. He just came back out. With Demon, who just came around turn 2, this is turn 3, heading on into sector 2 after this corner. He's gone for a good quick lap here as well. This is where we're seeing all the cars go out quite wide and into the big slides. Oh, and he brings it in. It's unfortunate so we don't get to go for that full lap around. See if we can get on for a full lap with someone. I think that may be Gallen. No, that may be Simo. Quite often happens when we jump on board with someone, they'll bring the car in. Okay, dog may last out. Now pit straight and heading in into turn 1, a very fast corner. It's Demon, I'm pretty sure, almost on the racing line through turn 2. See those tyre marks around turn 3, the same turn 4. A little bit slippery, brings it back in. Doesn't invalidate his time. So along the back straight. Brakes, got to feather that through. It's pretty flat foot, he's a little bit off pace. Down into the very sharp left. By a sharp right for the final corners. And then onto pit straight, flat foot. Use that full curb. There's a lap around Silverstone National with Coco Dog. We have Corby in the 109s as well. He's only 0.113 off of Rooney's time. Oh, little bit of lag going on there as well. I think that did just push Steph off. It did. A couple of incidents from lag with Corby. Hopefully it doesn't affect him too much coming into the race. That could potentially be some disaster.
Got him!
Rooney in with 109.785. There's not much between him and Corby, with Corby having a 109.756. Doesn't improve that lap. Then we have the 110s. Demons 1 second off pole time. Gallen is very close as well. Not much difference between him and Demon Effects. Alrighty, thanks for joining us for the stream. Yes, it is an amazing game and it is a lot of fun. And for those that are joining us for the stream, you haven't done so, be sure to hit that follow button so you notified when we go live. We'll be back next week, Thursday, for round 2 of the Group A Touring Car Cup. Hopefully we'll see most of our drivers with their teammates. Function just moves out of the way for Rooney. And you can see why. He just steals pole away. So the driver's usually pretty good in the chat. So he's carrying a lot of speed down off that lap. He was giving it all and just gets it in time. Can Mick steal that pole position back? He's got 70 seconds to do so. The drivers in the lobby chat, if they're on a real hot one, they will usually mention to an upcoming car that they're on for one. Now see if they can move out of the way. So it's good to see great sportsmanship like that. I think that's either Gallon or Simo having some fun across the line. That'd be Gallon. He's just probably across the line now, so it's probably not going to let him keep doing the burnouts. Gallon's always there for the pre-race entertainment with a burnout. Black Eye Warrior doing well, qualifying 10th. Crosses that line, doesn't improve. Gallon's teammate also out there doing a smoke show. COVID Racing doing their best to use the last of their tyres from the qualifying. Don't know if it's an AI driving that car for Mick. He's not going to have time to include a lap if he does anyway, but position 2 is still pretty good. There's Gallon and Simo both doing burnouts along pit straight. So we have qualifying for race 2 of round 1. Rooney takes pole position with a 109.5. And then we have following in the 109s is Mick and Corby. And the rest of the field we have is Demon Effects, Gallon, DK, Philly, Spray, Coco Dog, Black Eye Warrior, T-Rex, Simo, D-Train, Function, and Steph. So heading over to the grid now as we get ready for the main event. We had for our sprint race just before 15 laps. Drivers now having a grueling 30 laps ahead of them. There is a mandatory pit, and we have mixed things up by adding in pit stop errors, so we could potentially see some positions lost or gained all because of the pit stop errors. We'll see how that plays out for them. Drivers just have 2 minutes to ensure they have their pit strategies set, as well as their setups changed. We have seen usually some problems with drivers having to come back in to get their tyres changed as they've come in and served their mandatory pit, but their default setup that they had set to be active didn't actually apply, and it didn't actually change their tyres for them. And we've seen victories lost because of that. They do have to make sure that everything is set up and ready to go before they hit that ready button. Anyway, our drivers have all hit ready. And here we go, the lights go green for the start of race 2. Look at Demon Effects, darts up along the outside of Mick Cliff. Rooney still gets away pretty good, but Demon has now taken the lead. He gets a nice position in turn 1. Not sure if there's too much chaos going on for turn 1. Looks like all the cars have gotten through pretty clean. There's a fair bit of traffic building up in the midfield coming down through turn 3. Gallen showing some pretty big pace. With DK getting in the roads, Gallen going for that much more inside line, but going off has just cost him some time. A very good clean start to the race. Demon's in trouble now that Sierra has just slingshot around on the back straight. Oh, a little bit of lag showing for Demon as well. There's a few skips. Corby looked to try and position that for an inside line. He goes for an outside pass. Coming down into the sharp left-hand corner. Corby owns track position, takes over. Demon effects. Demon's not letting off lightly. He's still sitting in pretty close. Has dropped down into position 4 and has Spray and Pray looking to get around him. He's probably going to get him on the straight. Doesn't get around him. Mick holds him at bay. Corby and Demon, a few lag issues going on. Hopefully it doesn't cause incident. Corby's track position is skipping all over the place. Demon's going to have to be cautious trying to get around him if he does go to make a move. But Rooney is now leading only by 0.7. It's lap 2. He's been off to a very good start. Rooney and Corby had a great battle for race 1. Can they follow suit? And our debut driver tonight, Black Eye Warrior, doing well this time around. He's in position 7 currently. So much more luck. He's got to complete at least lap 1. Took catastrophic damage on the start in race 1 tonight. So doing much better now. His luck is much more on his side. Locked that back right for Rooney, so it's just cost him some time. It's allowed Corby to catch that ground up over him. On my race screen, I'm seeing very tight times throughout all our drivers. And we've had Spray, Blah and Gal all go very wide on the start of the back straight. Corby looking to try and position himself up along of Rooney. He's darting out to look for an inside line there. It would have been risky. Oh, especially with some lag, this could potentially be a spin out for both of them. There's a lot of lag showing for Corby. Rooney will have to be cautious if he does go for a blocking move. He may actually move on to Corby. Trey runs out wide, followed by Warrior also going out wide. Oh, I think Warrior's just gone off track. T-Rex has Simo and Function starting to close in on him. T-Rex has D-Train in his sights. Function just ran off on the track. Sure who that was at the back there. I think that was Gal. Just nearly lost control of the car. He came right back across the track. He's heading towards that wall. Colby's lost some of that ground now. He's trailing by 0.7. Ooh, catches up half a second very quickly through that corner. He's going to be carrying a lot more speed onto pit straight. A lot of noise going down pit straight with those Ford Sierras screaming. They sound like a bunch of angry bees as they are revving out down pit straight. Gallon closing in on Black Eye Warrior. D-Train's also taken a time second penalty. Both run quite wide, but I think Gallon carried a lot more speed. He's going to be able to slingshot out around Warrior. No, Warrior manages to keep pretty good pace. Look, Corby looking to get around Rooney again. He's caught up. Rooney runs quite wide. Corby takes the more inside line. He's getting some fantastic speed and he's carrying a very full load, so he's not going to be looking at needing fuel for the race. He's going to have enough to get 30 laps out of it. Rooney making some very wide lines. Corby seemed to be a lot quicker in Sector 1. We saw similar in Race 1 as well. That's where he seemed to catch Rooney, and then Rooney would get him in the remaining sectors. A much later break than what Corby's doing coming off of that back straight. See Corby really get a good run on the final corner, but he hasn't done it this time. He hasn't closed that gap in as much as he has on other laps. It's going to be harder for him to get around. Gallon has gotten around Warrior. I think there's lap traffic as well, so I think that is Philly. Not sure what's going on. He's currently on lap 6, so he's lap down. I've just lost my spot on the screen. Coca Dog and T-Rex battling it out down pit straight. Oh, T-Rex just spins out on the first corner. Will he take damage? But he goes out into the kitty litter, so manages to save that car before making wall contact. Demon starting to close the gap in on Corby. Corby seems to be losing some pace and he just spins out. Brings it back on track pretty quickly. Now he loses the position to Demon. Demon now moves into second. That's allowed Mick Cliff to now catch up to Corby as well. By 1.2 seconds he's got to make up to catch up to Corby. He doesn't have any pressure from behind. He's a good 3 seconds ahead of DK. The D-Train has copped himself a 1 second time penalty. For those that aren't aware of the game, if you see the red number on the side of the position board, that is meaning they have taken a time second penalty. And that can be awarded by cutting track and not abiding by the slowdown requests of the race director, or for speeding in pit lane. If they do get an excessive amount of speeding in pit lane, it will actually result in a disqualification, and then that would mean no points scored for the round, so drivers will have to be cautious. Know where the speed limits are. Not sure who that is that's just moved over on the side. Punchin starting to close in on T-Rex. Coco also starting to catch some ground on D-Train. Corby making a few errors. That's just cost him some more ground. Demon moves up into second position. But he is quickly catching up to that Mercedes. And Demon starts to pull away. Corby's fighting for an outside line. Oh, there's a little bit of contact. I'm pretty sure that's from lag as well. Very nice inside line. Both cars are showing a bit of lag. They could actually be in an incident very easily. Side by side up that pit straight. Corby gets in front just in time. Demon not letting him get away. He's managing to hold on. Chasing out Corby. You can see on the stream, there's obviously a few lag skips that's a bit noticeable with Corby's car. Rennie now leading the race by 3.8 seconds. Looking to get around DK. Ooh, a little bit of oversteer coming through the bend. Very good car control. Carries on some pretty good speed. He could be having a shot at Demon over the next couple of corners. The Sierra seems to get a good run down pit straight, and they really seem to take advantage of the slipstream compared to the BMW and Mercedes. Well, he locks that up. That's just cost him some precious time. Functions is a couple of seconds away from T-Rex. Mick still trying to close that gap in on DK. It's a very nice run off of the back straight. He's carrying a lot of speed into this corner. Can he hold through? Struggles a little bit. Demon's positioning himself inside, but he's going to have to probably give that track position up. No, he's going to fight for it. Very nice move by Demon. That's a very tidy pass on a very tricky corner. Mick's going to have another go to get back out around. You can see that Sierra really start to pull up that speed and close in on the Mercedes. Warrior seems to have taken time second penalty as well. It's only 1 second, the same as D-Train. I think that's... Not sure who's just gone off for the spin. I think that may have been Warrior. That was Warrior that just spun out. It looks like he's just taken some pretty crucial damage. It's in a very favourable spot though. It is on pit lane. Brings that car up to the right speed just before. Bit of bad luck there, but at least it was right on the pit entrance. He has already been to the pit once as well. Not sure if it might have been a jump start he was tending to, or if he was requiring some repairs. So Mick gets back around Demon. He's going to have that advantage to the speed down pit straight. I think they're catching up to some back markers now. I think Billy's car looks like it may be a little bit damaged. Can't tell from here whether there's a few scuff marks on the car. He moves out of the way for the guys to get around. getting past D-Train. Starting to lap traffic in lap 13. Nearing the halfway point now as we come onto lap 14. Oh, there we go. So Philly's younger brother is driving. Philly had to be called off to work. So driver change for Philly. But he can continue to run on. Warrior had to head off. He had something come up. Chin going off track. I'm not sure if he was just doing that to allow the faster traffic through or not. Rooney now still only leading by 2 seconds. So lap 14, and there's only 2 seconds separating position 1 and 2. Demon is now trailing behind Corby by 7 seconds. Demon and Mick seem to be exchanging positions fairly often. Having some fun chasing each other down and making some passes. The first car's heading into the pits. Simo heading off into the pits now. Mick just lost a bit of time. He's getting around D-Train. Runs off wide doing so he took a very different line. Went for that inside line to get around. But he had that extra speed he had to contend with. And he's starting to see Corby close in on his mirror. That 2.5 second lead has now dropped down to 1 second and teetering under that. Not sure what these guys are going to be potentially doing. Their pit strategies could come into play here. Could definitely cost a positional. Some lag shown for Corby. These tyres are probably going to be starting to be quite scrubbed at this point in the race. No worries, cool boy. Ready for next round. DK and Mick Cliff still battling out. Oh no, this is got some traffic coming. I think that's Simo Simsel that they're now getting around. That is Gallen, I think. Spray and pray. Oh, makes contact with Simo. I think that was Simo. No, that was Gallen he's made contact with. No, that was T-Rex, sorry, the other black car. He did redress that position. Not sure where is Spray in the positions. Ooh, T-Rex having some trouble. Spins out. Spray goes off for a slide. Unfortunate for Spray there. Corby has dropped back. That was Corby that had gone for the spin around. He had some time up his sleeve before Demon caught him, but he's lost that gain that he was getting over Rooney. Corby not taking any damage. That is lucky. He could potentially be able to catch him up through way of the mandatory pit requirement. His car seems to be a little bit slippery. Demon now only 2 seconds behind Corby. Gallen heading into the pits now. We're laps 18 of 30. 12 laps to go. Really flat sticking that car still. A little bit more conservative. That last lap was a 1:13.5. Demon and Mick both setting 1:11s. Mick was the fastest lap for the last one around. That was a 1:11.633. Well, we've got some time. We'll have a look and see what the fastest lap is. It's in the 1:10s. It's a 1:10.2 by Rooney. So it is a very quick time. Okay, Dog's car looking pretty bruised and battered. Gallen tucking in behind Function. Function did move over. Gallen tucked in behind him, using him as a slipstream to get up along that back straight. Lap 19, 11 to go. Our race leader has not pit. Corby still needing to pit. Only a few drivers having actually been in and served their mandatory pit so far. Demon slipping away from Corby now. He's about 3 seconds behind. Mick Cliff is starting to close that gap back in. Almost a little bit too heavy on the brakes there. Like that car, mate. Doesn't seem to be handling too well at the moment. Not sure if he's taken any damage. Gal back out on track now, having served his mandatory pit. So added about 20 seconds onto that lap. We're probably expecting around 25 to 30 second pit stops. And then the pit errors could come into play as well. A bit of spacing going on. Right now, with only 10 laps to go, he's leading by 6 seconds over Corby. The car seems to be a little bit slippery, but I can't tell if it's the difference between grip or the lag that is still a little bit evident on his car. Mick's heading in for his pit now. I think it's possibly a good idea. It did seem like he was struggling with that car on that last lap. It didn't seem to be performing at its best. DK now moves up into 4th position. Right now in 5th. These drivers will need to pit as well. Mick now making his way out. Enters back on track in 6th position. Only losing a couple of spots for his pit. I think he'll easily be able to recover some positions once the other drivers ahead head into the pits. Coca Dog also now in for his pit. Eric's currently in 10th position. He's got 5 seconds before he catches up to D-Train. So they're just looking at one of the markers. I think that may be Gallon that's just catching up to T-Rex. I think he just got around Philly. A little bit slippery for Philly's car. Rooney's car managing quite well. It doesn't seem to be sliding much. He may have gone for a hard set of tyres and he may just last them out for the full 30 laps potentially. Colby's closed that gap in by a couple of seconds. Last lap around he was at least 1.1 seconds quicker than Rooney. If he can keep this pace up, he'll definitely be able to catch up to him. They could potentially be racing it out in pit lane. T-Rex and Function now heading into the pits. 7 laps to go. Currently have Steph in 12th position on lap 21. T-Rex also on lap 21 in 11th position. We have Simo in 10th. The train is currently running 9th. Dog's car not looking too well. Is he missing any panels? Not sure. A few scrapes. Doesn't look like any performance impacting damage has been done to the car, so he's probably doing quite well. Gallon's car looking quite tidy. He's managed to keep this thing nice and clean. It's probably going to gain a few positions by the time they head off into the pits. I think that's Steph just up ahead of him and he's going to have to be getting around. Cliff having served his mandatory pit. Currently sitting in 6th position. Spray and Pray up into 5th position. About 8 seconds in front of Mick Cliff. But I'm pretty sure he has not been into the pits yet. So Mick will regain that position when he does peel off. Same with DK, currently in 4th position. Demon getting around T-Rex's car. Moved out of the way for him. I think he's now catching up to Simo as well. Demon slowly closing that gap in between him and Corby. So it was 2 seconds, it's now down to a second. Oh, a little bit of contact, that's just spun out Demon. I think that was with Simo, or maybe T-Rex. No, it may have been Simo's car. Made a slight bit of contact that just put him into a spin. Unfortunately, didn't get around him cleanly. He's got some more traffic to get around. He was starting to close in on Corby. And the back markers caught him up a little bit, allowing him to close that gap in, but unfortunate contact with Simo. I think Coco Dog is just getting around T-Rex at the moment as well. Fair bit of wobbling in the steering. I think T-Rex may have just spun off track. He did not manage to make any contact, but he's just spun that round nice and quickly in the right direction then. Now pushing that lead out to 6 seconds. Corby caught up in the traffic. DK's now heading into the pits. We'll see Mick regain that position now. Move up into 4th. Can't actually see out where DK is. It's not a very good pit lane view for this track. Crosses up into 4th position. We do need to see Rooney, Demon and Corby all head into the pits. It's lap 26. They're leaving it to the very last moment. Corby's just covered another 2 seconds. Here he's teetering between those lines. Oh, he's deciding to head into the pits now. Nicely done. Brings that car up just in before the speed limit. He has had some pretty good luck with timing, with getting around the back markers. He hasn't really been held up. Probably still getting, looks like he's just been released. See the crew running back into the garage. Looks to be a little bit slippery for Demon. He's probably going to be heading off into the pits this lap, I would assume. Doesn't seem to be getting the racing line like he was before. He's going to have to decide when he is going to head into the pits. Will it be this lap? Oh, the Functions has spun out. He's also peeling in. The Function had a spin, but he doesn't appear to have taken any damage. Oh, Rooney has just been done for speeding in pit lane. If I have to scroll back up, that's 10 seconds added to his time. So he didn't pull it up in time. He approached into pit lane too quickly. 10 seconds could easily cost him the victory now. He only had 6 seconds over Corby. Corby has served his pit. Doesn't even have to come back out in front of Rooney. He just holds that 6 second mark over the next 2 laps. It will be his victory by way of time penalty. Rooney comes back out on track. He's going to have to try and get as far ahead as possible. Now times won't line up for a little bit. It gets a little bit funny after race leaders are peeled in. There's 5 seconds separating Rooney and Corby. Demon needs to head into the pits. Oh no, Philly's car's just gone for a spin. And there's been contact in the back. He's been flipped over. Not sure who that was that made contact then, but they did actually go to steer around. Sure if that was Coco. Dog thought the spin and then went to drive to the right just as the car rolled back. So it's lap 28. Rennie's only 4 seconds ahead of Corby. He will relinquish that position to him because of that time penalty. Demon's going to have to head into the pits this lap. Let's see him head off. But if he does not head off into the pits this lap, it will be a DQ for him. Ooh, Rooney's struggling with the car at the moment as well. Demon currently leading the race, heading off into the pits. He's going to pull that up right there for those red cones. Does it very nicely. Coco Dog's car, yeah, he's taken a big solid hit from when he made contact with Philly's car in that spin out. Rooney needs to be cautious getting around that car, maybe a little bit unpredictable. Doesn't can't seem to be steering straight. Rooney takes back the lead. Corby moves back up into position 2. Demon's on his way out. Will Mick Cliff have enough time to get it back out in front of him? We'll be racing him to the pit exit. He's going to come out just in front of him. And there's also traffic blocking. That's T-Rex. That's the T-Rex car just caught up Mick Cliff. He's going to nearly spin out in front of him. There's almost a touch as well. That's the last lap. Rooney is leading the race. He's only leading by 3.2 seconds and he has 10-second time penalty. Colby only has to just keep this same gap and he will take the top of the podium. Demon as well could potentially move up into position 2. Mick Cliff could even get in there. He's only 10.2 seconds away. If they're seeing that on their board, Mick would be trying to close that gap in to under 10 seconds. Rooney could lose 3 or 4 positions here. He crosses the line. Corby will take victory here by way of penalty. Demon also will take a spot away from Rooney. Mick's got it down to 6.3 seconds. He'll move to the podium. No, it's not enough. He didn't get it in time. That just narrowly misses podium. Gallen crosses the line in 4th position. DK in 5th. Spray and Pray coming onto pit straight now. Crosses the line in 7th position. And Hitchermark's doing well for points. Coco Dog in 8th position. D-Train coming up to finish his last lap. 20 seconds to wrap up the last laps. Well done, D-Train, and there we have, and of course, Warrior did have to disconnect. So there's the conclusion of round 1. We have Corby at the top of the podium taking victory, and I think we have the fastest lap. It still went to Rooney with a 1:10.236, and he set that pretty early on. So well done to Corby for taking the win. Rooney in position 2 and Demon Effects in 3rd. So we'll be talking to them in just a moment as we go through the results. We'll invite them into the chat, see if he's got any questions, get them ready to throw into the chat, and we can talk to the drivers. Then with the rest of the grid, we have Mick Cliff in 4th, followed by Gallen, DK, Spray, Coco Dog, D-Train, Simo, T-Rex, Funkchin, Steph, and Philly. And of course, we lost Warrior, who had to actually leave the session, so he won't score any points for this race, which is worth the big ones. Unfortunate for him there, but we'll be bringing up our drivers in just a moment. I'll send them off a invite. Have Corby, Rooney and Demon joining us for the chat. Have to find them in a long list of drivers. We should see them pop up on the screen in a moment. The dogs, yes. Well done to all drivers. That would have been a grueling 30 laps. And we have Corby joining. Congratulations on the win, Corby.
Yeah. There's a win's a win, I guess.
Yep,
but
that's it.
Really cooked
speeding
that
in the pits.
entry.
Yep, 10 seconds. He almost lost more positions, so he was very
Throw
lucky.
the book at him. Holy.
Yeah, Rooney missing out, speeding in pits.
Yeah. Came in there a bit hot.
Yeah. And well done, Demon, as well, taking podium. It was some very good racing. You Corby and Rooney's was staying pretty much peg for peg and keeping that gap about the same for most of the race.
Yeah. The Sierras were just so much faster in that straight. The Mercedes was faster in the corners. But once they got past in that straight, you couldn't really attack them in the last section.
Yeah, we saw he is using some pretty good slingshots to get up and around the Mercs.
Like a rubber band.
Yeah. Yeah, but Demon doing well to get the Merc up there amongst the Sierras, who seem to be dominating what we saw in the practice and the qualifying.
Yeah,
So,
the
well
Sierra's
done.
a faster car. You just got to be able to handle them. That's all.
Yeah. And then it will be much different heading into next week as well for Donington, so probably potentially see the Mercs and BMWs have a bit more strength around round 2.
Yes, very good.
It's a bit tighter at Donington, a bit more elevation and flowing. Towards the end of that race, when we started running out of rubber, it's like driving on ice almost.
Yeah.
Especially when you're almost.
Yeah, we could see it starting to slip around a fair bit towards the end. Those times start to drop off, but yeah, some very quick times still. So the Freeve is in the 110s. It's only 0.1 between Rooney and Corby and 0.2 between Rooney and Demon. So very close.
Yeah, very good.
And I think I spin in the chicane and Demon went past and then sort of put on a move coming on that end straight. I was like, oh, hopefully we don't collect each other here.
Yeah,
But,
that's good.
Yeah, that was good racing, Demon.
Well, you spun a couple of times, but
yeah, thanks for that. Yeah,
you had enough lead. You had enough lead to hold on. So.
You should have had me if you didn't spin it.
Yeah, you two did well.
It's good racing today. Yeah, it was and then there was a bit of traffic as well. I think just with people taking earlier pit stops and stuff. There was a bit of dodgem cars going on, but
yeah, the traffic came early. So I wasn't sure whether I should pit early or go to the end. I pitted on the last lap because I was worried if I pitted early, your tyres cool down, and then you got to get them back up again. So I thought, while they're warm, I'll just keep going.
Yeah, well done. So congratulations on the podium, and look forward to seeing us do well at Donington.
No worries. Thank you.
Cheers, mate.
Wow.
And there we have the conclusion of round 1. So that is the Silverstone International with Corby taking victory in the main race. So of course next week, Thursday 7:30 PM, we have the broadcast for round 2, which is Donington Park GP, and it's going to be some very exciting racing and probably some difference in the cars, so we should see a little bit more performance coming out of the Mercedes and BMWs, so the Sierra's not having that more top end speed advantage on the straights. So if you haven't done so yet, be sure to hit that follow button so that you can be notified when we go live, and of course we will be broadcasting Monday night for iRacing, so if you also want to see some more racing action, we will be back at 7:30 on Monday. So thanks for tuning in, and hope to see you trackside next week.